Many thanks for joining. Now, this is Breakfast Central on News Central. Don't forget you can follow us on all our socials. We're at News Central TV on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. And if you're outside Nigeria, feel free to check us out on Twitter as well. Now, we'll begin with politics in Zambia now, where the Electoral Commission of Zambia, that's the ECZ, has cancelled Kabwata by-election following the resignation of the United Progressive People, that's the UPP's candidate, Francis Libanda. Now, also, the ECZ has cancelled political campaigns in Kabwata constituency. Now, the ECZ Chief Electoral Officer, Patrick Nshindano, says the Commission's decision comes after Mr. Libanda wrote a letter dated January the 10th, 2022, announcing his resignation from the party.
Mr. Nshindano says the Commission is also in receipt of Mr. Libanda's first letter dated January 7, 2022, where he indicated his withdrawal from the race. He says the Commission will soon call for fresh nominations from political parties' candidates, where they will be expected to pay fresh nomination fees. And Mr. Nshindano has urged political parties to properly scrutinize their candidates so that such incidences do not occur again, adding that there is need for a review of the electoral laws. This morning on Breakfast Central, joining us is Economical and Equity Party leader Chilufya Tayali, and also Executive Director Services Gears McDonald Chipenzi. We have McDonald Chipenzi, who is live now, and he's joining us. We'll also wait Tayali to equally join us as we proceed in this conversation. Let's start off with the first question. Mr. McDonald, this will be for you. Now, what impact does this piece have on the legislation, looking at the fact that a candidate is actually withdrawn and looking at the cancellation of elections in an event that this particular candidate says, I'm no longer interested? What effects, what impact does it have on the growth of democracy in Zambia?
McDonald, are you still with us?
The serious impact on the candidates that are participating, other candidates that are participating. There is also an impact on the law that currently we have. So what has actually happened now is that all the candidates have been rendered non-candidates because of the invocation of Article 52, Sub-Article 6 of the Constitution. It means that all the monies that they paid for nominations have been invalidated. It means that all the monies that they have put in the campaigns have gone in the drain, and therefore they have to start all over again and spend a similar amount, even more, because now they have to mobilize more supporters to support their nomination. They have to mobilize resources for nomination, which is 15,000 kwacha. If you divide that by 17 kwacha per dollar, it will give you equivalent in terms of dollar. They have now to mobilize more campaign funds for them, but it also triggers the reflection.
All right, Donald, I think we lost you there for just a second, but let me come back to you.
Why we
okay,
should
go on.
They need to be.
All right, so let me come back to you, political leader Tayali. Now, as a candidate, how do you describe the latest development of the cancellation of the by-election in Kabwata, especially when nobody saw it coming from that candidate who chose to walk away from the election?
Well, it's very sad on our part. It's very disappointing and quite inconveniencing. And not only inconveniencing, it is also a cost on our part. And in my view, I'm actually taking it as a sabotage of democracy, because this is actually induced. This is not an ordinary, natural cancellation of an election. This is something induced by somebody who may have some ulterior motive. And it is very, very sad on our part, because now, like Chipenzi said, I would have to pay a nomination fee. I would have to reorganize my mobilizing team. We also printed, campaign materials, which was indicating the date of voting as 20th. We have to redo all that. It is quite unfortunate and not good for our democracy.
All right, let me go back to you, Mr. McDonald. You just heard Mr. Tayali say it is a sabotage to the political situation in Zambia. Do you agree with that thought, if I may ask you?
I mean, in a country where you have political comedians, political dramatists, anything is possible. Sabotage can be there. Playboys can be there who are not serious in this game. For them, as long as they have been given money, sponsored for that matter, to participate in an election, they don't feel the pain of looking for that nomination fee. So for them, they can withdraw at any time. They can either participate luxury or laissez-faire in a program like this without really attaching the emotions and the importance of such kind of thing. So this is where we expect that we need to remove away these political comedians in the electoral process, because it's very expensive. Even the commission has incurred a lot of expenses. Imagine in Zambia, and I don't know about Nigeria, we are printing ballot papers from Dubai, and these ballot papers for Kabwata are arriving today, meaning that now those ballot papers have to be cancelled. And how much the huge sum of money that went into printing those ballot papers. And so we need now to reflect, as I said, that maybe such kind of activities like printing of ballot papers for by-elections can be done in country, so that we don't lose a lot of money, especially if we still have this law and we still have dramatists in our comedians.
Right. Now, let me come back to you, Tayali. You talked about the cost of this election and how much and what you might have to do again.
Arena.
Right. So let me come back to Tayali now. You were talking earlier about the cost of the election and how much, what your mobilization, the plans you've already put in place with the dates on the materials of the campaign materials that you were using. Now, a member of parliament, that's Stephen Kamyongo, he has come out to talk about the withdrawal of the candidates, saying that it is disastrous to the democracy of Zambia. And people are saying it might be a deliberate delay of the election in that constituency. What are your thoughts on that? Do you share the same sentiment, and why?
Well, clearly, like I said earlier on, that this is an induced cancellation, and it is a political machination by some players in this election who felt that they will not make it. So instead of them facing the bitter pill of losing the election, they decided to pull up this stunt so that maybe they can reorganize themselves and relaunch their campaign, hoping for a better result. But unfortunately, Zambian democracy is actually growing in terms of people, how they are looking at us politicians. Like Chipenzi has said, they are actually able to tell who is playing around, who is a comedian, and who is a serious leader. In this instance, much as these people have played this trick to relaunch, to extend maybe their chances, I don't think they will achieve anything. If anything, they will be punished even more, because eventually we will know who induced this, because we have the candidates. So if we are going to see a change of candidates from a particular political party, we will be able to tell that this is the party that induced this to change the candidate. And the people of that constituency, Kabwata constituency, will definitely punish that political party that will change the candidate.
All right. Mr. McDonald, I'd like to take your thoughts on this question, but I'd like it to be very brief. McDonald as well as Tayali. Going forward, what are your recommendations to address a certain type of challenge so that it does not happen again, where a candidate has gone for the elections, by-elections, getting ready for everything, and all of a sudden pulls out. You've both mentioned that monies have been spent outrightly, but what are the recommendations from your end, briefly, so that this challenge will not happen
The recommendation
anymore?
is that we need law reforms, constitutional reforms for that matter, and this requires that we quickly embark on the constitution making process or the amendment process, so that such kind of things don't occur, or at least we have a caveat, a condition when such a thing can happen. But also we need to make sure that when you pay nomination fee within a period of that 90 days, there's no need for any other payment that should be made for nomination. What we expect is that unless you change candidates, which is allowed by law to change because these are new nominations, then you can pay for that nomination fees, not one who have already paid, again you pay. I think that is actually duplication, is an expense that is wasted and is just stealing from the people. So we need to stop that theft.
Right, thank you so much. We look forward to hoping this election will eventually happen in Kabwacha constituency. But thank you, Party Leader Chiluya Tayali and Executive Director, Services Gears, Magdona Chipenzi. Thank you for coming on the program.